First story. OP resents her entitled pregnant sister. I 31F am getting married in September to my longtime love. I have a twin sister, Sarah 31F, and an older sister, Claire 33F, who are both my mothers of honor. My older sister Claire got married in 2017, and my twin Sarah got married in 2019. The three of us are close, and we get along generally pretty well. But my twin and I tread lightly around Claire. For example, Claire got married in April 2017, and was infuriated with Sarah for getting engaged in May after she got married herself. She said she was stealing her thunder. It was a huge deal at the time, but Sarah was gratuitous about it, and we swept it under the rug. Fast forward to 2023. My sister Claire has been trying to get pregnant for a while, 2 years, and it's finally happened for her. I was overjoyed to hear this news. Sarah called me on the same day, and she told me she was also pregnant, and I was over the moon. Claire is devastated that Sarah is pregnant, and is being extremely bitter about the ease with which it happened, and the fact she's having a baby at all. Claire is demanding that Sarah tell no one that Claire should get first dibs on bridesmaid dresses, and is claiming that Sarah is stealing her thunder again. Claire lives hundreds of miles away, and is demanding that she have 2 separate showers, one of which is in the town Sarah and I live in, and is excluding her from it. Claire also made a huge deal about her own wedding, bridal shower, and bachelorette. I spent a ton of time and money and flew for her trip. She was not even excited when I got engaged, acted like she didn't want to be on my bachelorette list, is responsible for planning my bridal shower, has basically not lifted a finger, and is delegating to everyone else. I find it hypocritical that she says everyone else is stealing her spotlight, when she's actively not interested in me and my wedding and won't let Sarah be happy about anything ever. Am I wrong for being very resentful of Claire and wishing I had never asked her to be co-matron of honor? Edit. Both sisters are due early next year, 3 weeks apart from each other. Comments. Philip Mayonnaise. Nah, I resent your sister too. Snoo 30 2071. This. Tell your drama queen sis to FFF off and get out of your lives if she can't manage to be a decent human being. Tilly Jane. Everyone is too damn old for this SHT. Stop treading on eggshells and tell her to stop being a moron. People are not putting their lives on hold so she can play princess. Info. Does everyone usually placate her? Does she threaten to leave or not show up? And you all have to play nice to make sure she's happy. Stop. Stop that SHT. She's 33. OP. Yes, everyone placates her because we are too scared of dealing with the fallout. Ever since I can remember, she's been entitled, and we've all accommodated her every need. Same with my mom. Very toxic. Update. 7 months later. My twin sister Sarah F32 gave birth to her son over 3 months early in her second trimester due to a severe case of preeclampsia. I received a call on a Friday evening saying her blood pressure spiked, which was resulting in kidney and liver failure and a borderline seizure. They put her on these crazy medications and held off on delivering for 2 days. She ended up giving birth via emergency C-section to a tiny under 2 lb baby boy. It has been one effing hell of a journey with both of them nearly dying. But I could not be happier to report that they are still recovering, and the baby will be home soon 4 months later, but alive and on their way to being permanently much better. The update part is that my older sister Claire 33F happened to be having her second baby shower that I would have left for the next day Saturday that same weekend. When I called to tell her my plans had changed due to our sister Sarah being in the hospital on the verge of death and trying to hold off on delivering her baby in her second trimester, Claire's reaction was to break down in tears. It is not what you are thinking. I call Claire and tell her, I am worried about Sarah and baby. They both might die due to severe preeclampsia. And she says, okay, through her tears. There was not a care in the world about my sister and baby, and she hung up on me. My mom calls her next and tries to explain that she won't make it to the second baby shower, and her sister flips out, saying she is disowning her, and that she doesn't need us because she has her husband's family now. At this point, we are all cousin, friends, and aunt included like WTF, but obviously my concern is with twins. The whole weekend, Claire's husband has been calling, asking if we are okay, borderline apologizing for Claire's behavior, and making sure everyone is contacted by him. He is not that type of guy in our family, but he did the right thing, so kudos to him. Throughout the next several days, Sarah and her baby were recovering in the hospital. Claire refused to speak to any family, didn't reach out to Sarah or her husband, and did not even send flowers to the hospital after she asked me for the address. After all of this, Claire just had her baby a week late, at over 8 pounds, super healthy, able to go home within 2 days, and never once separated from the baby. Claire has not said a word about any of this to anyone. No apologies or anything. I have not confronted her yet since I have been so focused on Sarah and her recovery and her baby. But it's just widely outrageous behavior, and most of my family is ready to cut Claire off for good. Would I be wrong to stay silent on this and let Mom and Sarah confront her? Or should I take one for the team? Another update. I was indeed happily married to my love in September. Comments. Ideen21. Make sure you text Bill congratulations. But don't you dare text C. She disowned you all. Do not engage with her. Do not give in to her tantrum. Excellent witness 187. I would add that I sent a baby gift addressed to Bill, and maybe sent him a gift because God bless that poor man. Ignore your sister as long as she ignores all of you. She wants attention, and an arsehole intervention would be a massive amount of attention. However, by keeping in touch with your Bill, you and your family will have a good connection with your niece when they inevitably get divorced. Wawa Skittletits. Please make it a onesie that says, I love Daddy, or something along those lines. I really dig it in there. Corfiz74. Congratulations on your baby. But also condolences for being married to your wife. I don't know what happened. We didn't raise her that way. Darth Dada. It's so confusing how you three were so close until Sarah got engaged. Is that when this behavior started? OP Claire has always needed to be better than me and Sarah. I am soft-spoken and passive and really live a small and simple life. Claire is wildly jealous of S and her accomplishments. We have all been close though, genuinely. At different times and in different stages. Sarah and I are twins and live closer. But we all have a group text and talk every day. And she's included in our birthdays and all other events. We could have done better, sure. But I have genuinely tried very hard. At least I have to never make Claire feel left out. I've talked to her in the past to say, please always come to me. And we can even schedule time separately. Second story. OP is refusing to share their vacation house with the in-laws after they sold their house without consulting her. Background. My husband, 35, and I, 33, have been married for 5 years. We own a beautiful vacation home on the beach that we built ourselves and use throughout the year. My in-laws' 60s have always been welcome guests, visiting for a few weeks here and there and contributing financially towards maintenance costs. Last month, my in-laws suddenly announced they were selling their house to downsize and move into a tiny condo. Apparently, they've been secretly harboring this idea for months, never mentioning it to me or my husband. They plan to close on the sale in 2 weeks and then move into our vacation home for 6 months while they figure things out. I was floored. This house is our sanctuary, not a retirement home extension. We use it frequently, have friends and family booked to visit throughout the year, and rely on the income it generates during peak season. My in-laws, on the other hand, haven't lifted a finger on the property themselves and have contributed only minimally. My husband, bless his sweet heart, is more understanding. He feels bad for his parents and believes we can make it work. His in-laws, sensing my resistance, are now guilt-tripping us, claiming they have nowhere else to go and offering to pay significantly more than their usual contribution. AITA for refusing to let them move in. On one hand, I feel obligated to help families in need. But on the other, this feels like an outrageous imposition on our personal space and finances. Edited to add an update, as it'll likely get lost down in the comments. I'll give a quick update while I wait to get the kids from school and answer a few questions I saw pop up. We co-own the beach house. We bought it in 2020 when interest rates were super low before houses skyrocketed. My in-laws have helped us with projects and paid for a few things, but so have my parents. So we have never thought of their contribution as anything but help from parents. They had their annual old farts Christmas party, their words, not mine, there this past December, and had the place for a week free of charge for them and all their guests. So they have definitely gotten plenty of use out of it. We had a come to Jesus moment yesterday, and I was the arsehole to my husband. I told him I was done, and I wasn't even entertaining them by staying there, as it's our business, and this is bad business. I basically told him I was over his mom, and it was to the point where I'm about to peace out, because I can't handle her SHT anymore. Prior to this, I had no contact with her, and would entertain them when they'd come to visit. They never stayed at our house, as we live relatively close to them. He still has no clue if they're truly selling their house, if they're upside on bills, or if they're just arseholes, but I honestly don't care. My parents are immigrants, own a restaurant, and have worked their arses off to create a fantastic life for me and my siblings. They also taught us the value of money and working hard for the things we have. The vacation home was bought cheaply, but 90% of the renovations were done by me during my free time. Renovations are my true love. Nursing pays the bills, I love it too, but it doesn't fill the creative cup. I told him he'd lose the house to his parents over my dead body, And if he feels the need to financially set them up, he can do so with the extra money he earns from picking up shifts. He's also a nurse. Basically, I told him their failure was not an emergency on my part. They have always kept up the Jones and spent exorbitantly. So they might be broke, and again, I don't care. I have barely tolerated his mom for the past few years. I'll be cordial because I was raised well, but I'm over-tolerating their nonsense. I will say he does see all this crap she pulls, but he was raised knowing that mom knows best. He's Puerto Rican, so this is partially cultural. But I'm done. I worked yesterday and busted my arse, then drove the kids to the beach house last night and picked up dinner. And we are there, and I just thought, F no. So time will tell. But he called his parents and on speakerphone told them they couldn't stay. The offer to condo hunt is still open, but he needs to know the price range and all that jazz. His mom cried, and I flipped the phone off. So as of this moment, it's not happening. I also told him if it's a problem, he can quit the claim on the beach house, and I'll cover the expenses and manage it myself. Because mommy doesn't play. Comments. Okay, play 2364. Okay. Now I have to ask, what else have they done? OP. On our first marriage anniversary, they gifted us a chicken. We lived in an apartment at the time. On Valentine's Day, the second year, they showed up at our house in the mid-afternoon because they thought it would be special to spend the night with us. On the day of the birth of our daughter, my mother-in-law refused to leave the delivery room until I had the nurse drag her out. And then she sobbed obnoxiously loudly in the hallway outside the room. When COVID happened, she ordered us cases and cases of beans and other canned food to help us prep for the apocalypse, and then sent us the bill. My mother-in-law demands all holidays with them, and shows up unannounced to my parents, who are 4 hours away each holiday we spend with them, and forces us out of my bedroom, and we sleep on the pull-out sofa the whole visit. My mother-in-law demanded my husband go to her house last year to fix something on our daughter's birthday, and then kept him there till after the birthday party was over, and then had a birthday party she planned for my daughter at her house the next day. Our second daughter's birth was similar in that she sobbed. I instantly FaceTimed my husband since I refused to let her into my delivery room. She sent a mixed nut package to my parents at Christmas this year. Knowing my dad is deathly allergic to tree nuts. I could go on and on. Living highlight 7777. NTA, it is outrageous. You'd be well within your rights to say no. But I'm curious. How is your relationship with them otherwise? How is your husband's relationship with them? What other options do they have? Again, you have every right to say no, and it would not make you the but is it worth the damage it could do? In other words, are you okay with whatever fallout occurs? If you end up deciding to let them stay, I would be very clear about how upset and disrespected you feel, and that if they ever pull anything like that again, you are going to have major problems. I usually try not to edit comments after so much time and traffic has passed, but I just have to add that, with the additional information from the OP's comments, Mill is an absolute nightmare. Anyone who throws a sobbing fit about not being in the delivery room when you are actively in labor is a complete and utterly entitled, narcissistic a whole, and the other examples were just as bad. Good job putting your foot down, OP. And I'm glad to hear your husband is, so far, rising to the occasion and laying down the law. There may be hope for him yet. OP. My relationship with them is strained, because this is not the first time they have grossly overstepped. This had led to many fights between my husband and me. My husband sees nothing wrong with their behavior and thinks we should just help them. Every time they're at the vacation home, they've commented on how much they love it and would love to live in a place like this in retirement. So I feel this was a very intentional move on their part. Not letting them stay will create conflict in my marriage, but I'm pretty positive that they will never leave if we let them move in. Curlygirl B409. They're planning on moving in and staying. They'll act as though they can't find a suitable house and continue to guilt trip every time you ask them to move out. No way. You should not agree to this. You'll be losing money because you shouldn't make them pay the full rental price because family. Successful Clock 224. They seriously said they wanted to retire there. I would change the locks. Judgment. NTA. Update. 23 days later. In-laws did sell their house. They made little to no money, as apparently they took out a cash-out refinance a few years ago. So they had no down payment for a smaller place. They are now renting an apartment, as I really refused to help them financially. We did help move their crap into the new places, so they didn't have to pay for movers. Basically, they were trying to live rent-free. My husband has barely spoken to them. The light bill truly went off with all of this, so they suck. I knew it, and it seems he finally does too. But they're not in the beach house, and they won't be staying there anytime soon, because I still don't trust them. Comments. Laquilla. Good for you for standing your ground. It sounds like they would have moved in and not left after 6 months, given what you said about them not having any money from the sale of their house. They basically assumed your vacation home would be their free retirement home. I'm glad to hear your husband's eyes are opening. STL Simpy 1D400 heavily downvoted. This one is kind of tough. On one hand, they shouldn't have assumed that they have a right to use your vacation house as a temporary place to stay while they find a smaller condo. That was dumb and wrong. On the other hand, what is your relationship with your in-laws worth? If you simply cannot fathom the idea of not vacationing for one summer, is that worth the future resentment you will receive for the rest of your married life? Is it worth your husband harboring resentment for your lack of willingness to support his parents? I would be more harsh on your parents if this wasn't a vacation home. You got lucky with the housing market, and I think you should extend that luck to other people, especially your family. In my opinion, vacation homes are borderline unethical. OP. My in-laws are obnoxious and overstep their bounds daily. I do not feel there is any loss of relationship that will happen, as there isn't a relationship. My in-laws refinanced their home and spent all the money over the past few years on vacations and SHD. They now cannot afford to live in their house with the increase in property taxes and insurance, so they have to downsize. They made the choice to get themselves into this pickle to keep up with the Joneses. They're in their 60s, both retired this year, and have gotten themselves into a dilemma. We didn't make these choices for them. They didn't have a plan and wanted to move into the beach house, so they wouldn't have to pay rent somewhere for an indefinite amount of time. They spend money like crazy and have for the 6 years I've known them. As an adult in my 30s, it's not my job to take care of someone because they made SHT choices. I worked 5 shifts a week during COVID as a nurse to make a crap ton of extra money to afford to buy and renovate the beach house. Minus the interest rate, we didn't get lucky. My hard work and ability to budget are our luck. We now use this as an income property because I refuse to be in their spot at 60. I just spent my whole life, and now I can't afford retirement. I work damn hard for everything I earn. And people call me selfish for wanting a better future and life for my family. And I'm not willing to sacrifice that for people who lack insight and make horrible choices. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.